There are options available like embryoscope or time-lapse technique, where we do not take out the embryos of the incubator and check. We cultivate them directly into an incubator with a microscope and a camera attached. So the embryos can be actually observed 24/7 throughout that microscope, and without taking out the embryos, it's a non-invasive technique. And then by looking at the embryos continuously, we try and figure out which is a better one for you. Please understand, this is a much better technique of identifying embryos as opposed to the previous technique of sporadically taking out embryos, checking them within 2 seconds and putting it back. Are there better choices also? Yes, there are. We could look at the embryos genetically whether they are healthy or not. Now please do understand also that an embryo or a human being is now known to contain more than 25,000 genes. We are not smart enough to check for all of these, but as many as 700 or 800 of these genes can be detected, and we can find out faults in these genes. So in case these embryos are faulty, then these embryos are better rejected and not transferred back to your womb. This technique is known as pre-implantation, that is before putting it back to the womb, genetic diagnosis. There are 2-3 methods by which this can be done. You may have heard of a new technique called NGS, which is now the preferred method of doing diagnosis of genetic diseases for embryos. Embryo biopsy for genetic diagnosis does not improve results. I would say that's not the right answer. Actually, what it does, it prevents failures or miscarriages. So we as of now only recommend it for people who have had multiple miscarriages or multiple failures. First case patient, young women, better not go for PGS as of now, because it's not established where PGS is completely healthy and safe for all of us. Finally, we still have to remember that there's a functional component for every embryo. The embryo, whether it's functioning properly or not, is still not well understood. This is completely new technique, completely new territory. We are not very clear as to how to detect and find out whether the embryo is malfunctioning or functioning properly. So even in the best of centers and best of hands, you could have some sort of a selection taking place, nowhere as close to what nature does. And therefore, whenever we do so, we cannot expect a 100% result every time the embryos are put back. Slowly, however, the results are approaching 90-95% for most couples. In fact, there are now a lot of centers all over the world who are claiming that there is a 90% probability of giving birth if we are allowed to put back embryos to your womb on 2 or 3 occasions. I think this is a reason to celebrate modern science.